So I added 2 new dividend stocks to the portfolio. Both of them yield more than 7%. And previous to today, I have never ever owned a single share of either company. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Average Joe Investor channel. My name is Joe, and in this video, I'm breaking down for you comprehensively everything you need to know about why I purchased 2 high-yield dividend stocks. Specifically in this video, I'm gonna overview what each company is. I'm gonna cover all the important key dividend metrics you need to know to fully inform you on if it's a good fit for your portfolio as well. And then we'll also review both the price history and the dividend history for each of the dividend stocks. And I'll just share with you my overall feelings about why I added each one and why I added them now. Enough with the intro. Let's get started. All right, guys, let's jump right into it here. I bought 2 high-yield dividend stocks and added it to my portfolio. Only about $1,500, but still it's a portion of the portfolio, and I plan on adding more money to these stocks over the next few months. The very first dividend stock that I added to my portfolio was Arbor Realty Trust Incorporated. Ticker symbol here is ABR. Now, what exactly is Arbor Realty Trust? It's a mortgage REIT, or a mortgage real estate investment trust. You might be familiar with a REIT. A REIT, or a real estate investment trust, is a company that specializes in real estate, owning real estate, renting it out, utilizing it in other aspects. And what makes it a REIT is special tax benefits as long as the company does certain things. The big thing here is that they pay out at least 90% of their taxable income to their shareholders. What that does is it allows them as a company to bypass their own corporate taxes completely. Another type of real estate investment trust is a mortgage real estate investment trust, and they specialize generally in financing real estate properties. Same idea though, they have to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income in order to continue to have that favorable tax status. Arbor Realty actually didn't start as a mortgage real estate investment trust. It became one. And kudos to anybody who happens to drop in the comments, why are they called Arbor Realty Trust? I mean, it's not just because they like trees. Arbor Realty specializes in lending money, but specifically not so much residential. It's mostly about commercial and multi-family properties. As you can see right here, they're a top 10 lender by volume for more than a decade with respect to Fannie Mae. Same thing with Freddie Mac over here. They're also an FHA lender. Their specialty is bridge financing, which is known as short-term financing. They also do bridge loans, permanent loans, and build-to-rent loans, mezzanine and preferred equity financing. They also service their own loans. That's all great. You understand what Arbor Realty actually is, but why do I own it? So let's look at the dividend metrics. Arbor Realty Trust is part of our dividend stock spreadsheet. And if you're not sure what the monthly dividend stock spreadsheet is, you gotta join the Patreon community, where it's a special community of individuals who really are focused on dividend investing. And I provide a bunch of benefits, including all the spreadsheets that you see in my videos, a monthly dividend stock spreadsheet that I update every single month that includes all the dividend stocks that have been raising their dividends for at least 5 consecutive years. You also have an in-depth review of my portfolio and all the changes I make right when they make them. Just for your awareness, these 2 dividend stocks that I purchased, I actually told my Patreon community about it last week. If you'd like to learn more about joining the Patreon community, check out the link in the description below. So we're in the monthly dividend stock spreadsheet here, and we've got Arbor Realty Trust right here. They're in the financial sector, and they're a mortgage real estate investment trust. Their current price per share, $18.31. Let's talk about the important metrics though. First off, let's talk about yield. Right now, this mortgage real estate investment trust is yielding 7.65%. It's also raised their dividend consecutively for 9 consecutive years, which makes them a dividend challenger, which is 5 to 9 years. A dividend contender is 10 to 24, and a dividend champion is 25 years and up. Then we also have the 1, 3, and 5-year growth rates here. This is their dividend growth rate, how much they raise their dividend every single year. So the most recent year, they raised it 9.3%, which is excellent. Their 3-year dividend growth rate, 16.1%, and their 5-year dividend growth rate, 16.7%. Their current dividend is paid out quarterly, and the most recent dividend is 35 cents per share. Now, generally when we talk on this channel about dividend safety, we talk about the dividend payout ratio, but not based off net income. We talk about based on free cash flow. It's a little bit different with a mortgage or a regular real estate investment trust. That doesn't mean that the dividend payout ratio based on free cash flow is not good. It's just not the only measure that we should value, because REITs are a little bit different. With respect to a mortgage REIT, we also want to be concerned with net interest income, NII. The reason why is because there's a spread between how much they pay for the money that they use to lend versus how much they make off of those originations and the servicing. That spread is called the net interest income, and we want to make sure that the net interest income is sufficient to pay the dividend. How do we calculate net interest income? Well, in the future, I'm actually going to include that in the spreadsheet for those of you in the Patreon community. But what we can see here, before we jump to net interest income, let's look at that payout ratio based on free cash flow. You look over here, we've got historical free cash flow per share, 159, 259 here. In 2019 it was lower at 172. It was negative free cash flow, which is why that net interest income is going to be important to look at. And then in 2020, 365 a share. And then here the trailing 12 months, $2.02 per share. All that leads to over here a payout ratio based on free cash flow over the trailing 12 months, 69%. Anything below 75% is excellent. We have a little bit more leeway when it comes to master limited partnerships and real estate investment trusts because they have to pay out 90% of their taxable income. Now, how do we capture that net interest income? We need to go to Morningstar. Specifically, when we go into Morningstar, we want to go over to the financials tab up here, and then we want to go to, first off, the income statement. So we go to the income statement, we scroll down here. You can see net interest income right here. You can get the breakdown of net interest income by going down here and clicking this drop down arrow right here to see all the expenses that go with it. But instead, you can just look at net interest income right here. You can see here net interest income in 2018 was 97 million. 2019 was 129 million, 2020 was 170 million, and trailing 12 months, if you look right here, 197 million. So that keeps increasing quite a bit. And if we scroll down here, 197 million, 170 million, and then we can pop over to the cash flow statement. That's gonna give us our dividends. And we scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and we can see total dividends paid right down here. 8 million, 12 million, 15 million, 22 million here. We have more than enough net interest income to pay the dividend. And as long as net interest income keeps increasing like it has been year over year for Arbor Realty Trust, the more I am solidified in saying this was an excellent decision. Now, if net income really drops significantly, that could be a problem for its ability to pay out the dividend, in which case I would seriously evaluate owning this mortgage real estate investment trust. Here is Arbor Realty Trust price history and their dividend history. You can see here that we've got history back to 2004. Obviously, there was a significant drop here with respect to the housing crisis. It's a mortgage lender, so no wonder that would happen. So if you owned here, then we kind of screwed a little bit. But if you purchased way down here or anywhere since 2009, it's been a good ride here. Lows down here to 62 cents in 2009. And right now, and there's the COVID drop right here. Since then, it's back up to, what is this, right around $18.38 per share. And as you can see here, it's been steadily increasing their dividend every single quarter since 2012. Obviously, you can see here that there were some significant troubles with respect to the housing crisis. You can call it a one-time event, it doesn't matter. We can see here that since 2012, though, it's been raising their dividend consistently ever since 2012 all the way through 2021. So why did I buy Arbor Realty Trust? Part of it is because it's got a great dividend yield right now. I'm more focused for the next few years about dividend yield and capturing as much dividend income as much as possible because of my trip in 3 years that we need cash flow as much as possible. After that, we're gonna be looking to be more balanced with our dividend portfolio, balancing dividend growth, dividend income now, as well as general capital appreciation in the stock. But for now, it's a focus on yield, and that's why I purchased Arbor Realty Trust. Okay, second dividend stock that I purchased, and this one might be a little bit controversial, so let's go ahead and talk through it. The second one is Altria Group. Ticker symbol is MO. Seems like anybody who's in the dividend community knows and has a strong opinion about Altria Group. Either they own it because they love the fact that it's so stable with respect to paying dividends, or you hate it because of the fact that it's known as a sin stock, right? A company that is focused on tobacco. So when you think of Altria, you gotta think of some of their holding companies. Philip Morris, which is a major cigarette company. We've got Smokeless Tobacco, John Middleton, Philip Morris Capital Corporation, their wine arm of the business. Then we've also got Helix Innovations. And then there's also strategic investments in InBev, Juul, and Kronos Group. We can see here that Philip Morris is renamed Altria Group back when that company came together in 2003. You can see here in 2009, Altria Group acquired UST, which is a holding company with the primary business being the manufacture and marketing of smokeless tobacco. You can see here that Anheuser-Busch InBev merged with SAB Miller, becoming the world's largest drink and brewing holder, of which Altria retained a 9.6% economic and voting interest in that company. In 2018, Altria Group made an investment in Juul Labs Inc. and an e-vapor company. Altria made an investment in Kronos Group in 2019. And these moves here are a way for Altria to try and diversify their income. We all know that smoking has become less and less popular and that fewer people are smoking over time. That would be a major concern for anybody who owns Altria Group. Now, one of the reasons why I own them anyway is because they just have great economic figures here. They've got great cash flow. They keep raising their dividend. Eventually in the future, might they be a bad dividend play? Perhaps. But for the meantime, it's hard to say no to them. And honestly, when it comes to an investment approach, I'm very pragmatic. I'm not letting Altria's focus on tobacco say, for that reason, I'm not going to invest in this company. You might disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. But these moves here, as you can see on the screen, investing into e-vapor, into cannabis, into the wine industry, and having a holding in InBev, these are ways for Altria to diversify their income, although a good portion of it, a very significant portion, still comes from their tobacco sales. Now let's talk dividend metrics. So Altria Group, as you can see right here, is in the tobacco industry. It's part of the consumer staples sector of the economy. Current price per share is $50.08 per share. We've got their dividend growth rates here. Let me just go ahead, it's a little bit off right there. Let's see, we've got the 1, 3, and 5 year growth rates. I'm giving a little bit of leeway with respect to the 1 year growth rate because of COVID, but I do expect that their future growth in the dividend to be closer to the 3 and 5 year growth rates, around 8.2 or 8.8%. Current dividend yield, 7.19%. Now you'll notice that the dividend stock spreadsheet shows dividend streak of 12 years and dividend contender. The reason why this is because back in 2008, or 2007, 2008, Altria split into 3 different companies. They spun off 2 companies, the Philip Morris brand internationally and Kraft Foods. And as a result, their dividend went down as a company because they spun off those other 2 companies. If you adjust for that, and then you can say that Altria has been raising their dividend consecutively for over 50 consecutive years. So we've got that 12-year growth rate here when you really consider it, though, 50 years and a dividend champion. Now, let's go ahead and talk payout ratio based on free cash flow. Now, you'll notice here, this says 113%. This is based on the trailing 12 months. If you look at it based on the free cash flow per share for 2020, because 2021 is not done yet, you can see that it's much higher, and the dividend has been, the free cash flow, has been growing every single year from 2017 to 2018 to 2019, 2020. It's lower here, trailing 12 months. I pulled the trigger on owning Altria because of that consistent free cash flow growth. In the future, if it does pop above 100% and it stays there for more than 1 year, I'm gonna probably get rid of it because I want to be able to avoid a dividend cut. Altria is such a dividend powerhouse because they always keep raising their dividend. But if at some point it becomes economically not feasible to do so, it's gonna make a major cut in the dividend stock price. Here's that price and dividend history here. We've got price history back since 1962, and then dividend history we've got since 1989 here. You can see that price history was really low for a while, started to pop up here in the 90s, had a significant drop here right around the dot-com bubble right here, had another significant drop during the housing crisis, came back up here. And what you've seen here is a little bit of languishing in the stock. I just think that so many people are not sure what to do with Altria because on the one hand, they love how solid that dividend is, but at the same time, they either struggle with the fact that it's a sin stock and it primarily focuses on tobacco, or they're just concerned that at some point along the way, the future prospects for this company are not going to be good, so therefore they just don't own Altria Group, and that's why I think the stock price has really languished over the past few years. For me, I'm really focused on cash flow. I don't want to own a stock that's tanking, but I wouldn't really classify this as tanking with respect to their stock price. As long as that dividend is strong, I really like owning Altria in my portfolio. Like I said, both Arbor, Realty, and Altria only make up, like, I don't know, maybe less than 1% of the portfolio right now. I don't anticipate making any new stocks any more than say 3, 4, 5% of the portfolio. I've got portions made up for dividend ETFs, and I've got other individual stocks that I really like in my portfolio. These companies are high yield plays that I really like having in the portfolio, especially for the next few years. Do you own Altria and Arbor Realty Trust? Let me know in the comments below. Also, just leave your 2 cents in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this video, what other topics you want to hear more about. And in future videos, we're going to do some more dividend matchups between individual companies to see if they deserve a spot in your portfolio. Based on some comments I've received in previous videos, we're going to look at the Credit Suisse dividend exchange traded notes, which might be a unique thing you've never heard of, with some significantly high yields that outpace even QYLD. So we're going to talk about those and see if they're a risky investment, whether or not it deserves a spot in your portfolio. Also be on the lookout for in the next 2 to 3 weeks how to build the perfect retirement ETF portfolio. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Have a great rest of your day, and please continue to stay healthy, both physically and financially. Have a good one.